Good to see you all. Beautiful sunny day, clear sky, and we hear COVID-19 is getting more and more under control. And we're being told that the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th standard would be starting soon in the school. With that positive note, there are people from many other places who are participating and taking the journey together with you and me. Let's start with our salutations, the prayers. Om. Asato ma satgamaya. Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya. Mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Our pranams, salutations to the Divine Mother, to God, to the Gurus and the saints of all religions. Our pranam and salutations to Paramahansa Yogananda, beloved Gurudeva, Sriti Yukteswar Giri, Lahiri Mahasaya. Salutations and pranam to Swami Sri Vivekananda, Holy Mother Sharada, Paramahansa Ramakrishna. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May we be held and guided, blessed to awaken our consciousness, our Chaitana, so that we become aware who we truly are. Jai Guru. Let's take up the journey. We've been having some wonderful sessions, and I noticed we've advanced tremendously, and we get on to the slides straight away. Yeah. So questions on Vedanta came about. Now, recollect our quick journey was on the self-inquiry, in which we had spoken about self-realization comes. Does it mean that the self will know itself? Self-realization? No, the moment I'm not going to get into the details because we have covered it, but we'll run through it quickly. Now, the moment you say self-realization, it doesn't mean that the self is realizing self. The moment you realize something, that means you become the drashta. The other things become drishya, meaning it becomes an object. But the self cannot be an object. So Advaita Vedanta talks about through the self-inquiry, all you're doing is you are becoming aware of the self, but self is not an object. So what is it? Self is swaprakasha. And self, it doesn't require to be, you just come to know about it. And we had talked about the senses, the Panchakoshas, we are beyond that. We talked about the act of knowledge. Any knowledge that we get is actually an awareness of the consciousness. Without the consciousness, we cannot learn anything. We cannot do anything. We cannot speak. We cannot hear. And we had talked about the little finger can touch anything. But it cannot touch itself. The eye can see everything, but the eye cannot see itself. Similarly, self cannot see itself. In every episode of knowledge, there is a continuous. Swami Vivekananda is saying this small self, the great emphasis on the self, but limited self is nothing other than the eternal self under delusion. We are the little self, the little jiva, is nothing else that the supreme self, but under delusion, under ignorance. And because of this ignorance, that we are stuck. So, Saprakasha is the self-illumination, like you see the sun. And in philosophy, this is called the self-reflectivity. You zoom, ooze out of your inner power and in everywhere else. And there is that beautiful smile and the aura and in the light. So the consciousness does not know itself. Does it mean it cannot be known? No, it is more than known. And self-realization means actually that nature of the consciousness of this luminosity, it becomes known to us. It gets unveiled. And what is common? Let's say the light or the touching, we will recognize it thereafter. In every knowledge, which means, this is what it means is, like we talked about the wave in the ocean. Ocean is bigger than the wave. And bigger than the ocean is the water. If the water is not there, then the ocean cannot be there, and which means waves cannot be there. The water is essential. The waves are, understanding it very simply, are like you and me. We are the jivas. And when you combine all the waves of the ocean, all the waves of the universe, is called in Vedanta Ishvara. All the jivas put together is called Ishvara. All the jivas of this earth, universe, is called the Ishvara. And knowledge of that Ishvara is the supreme Brahman, which is far, far beyond everything else. And this is what it exactly means, that seeing God in everything, being aware of the consciousness, being aware of the Brahman in everything. Now, self does not reveal itself, and Kenu Upanishad goes ahead and gives this Pratibodhanam Viditattanam Amritattam Hirandate. All it means is in every cognition, every understanding, every journey, when the consciousness is revealing itself, when you realize the presence of the consciousness in yourself, is called immortality. And that is that understanding that I am the consciousness. There is a beautiful story. There is one great Advaitic saint in Uttaranchal. His body was, he was quite old, about 96 or so. His body had an operation, and the stomach was operated just the evening before. And the next day morning in the normal session, he came down and sat down in the charpai, you know, in Uttaranchal, Uttarakhand, and you use the charpais quite effectively. So he sat down there. You eat your lunch also there. I've eaten like that. And you have to be careful. You have to sit on the edge if you like to sit straight. If you go back, you will be sinking a little bit. Great fun. So he came and sat down on that. And one could see in a very short time, he had great knowledge. He was considered to be self-realized master. Everybody knew him to be. And obviously he was in a lot of pain, because just the evening before his abdomen was operated, big stitches and big pain. And he sat down and he was listening. And then you could see that his body and abdomen was all filled up with sweat. And the sweat is not sweat because of the heat, because others were there and it was quite pleasant. It is because of the pain which his body was having, but he was not letting it rule his kind of the consciousness, realized master. So one of the other monk who was conducting the session, he asked him, he said, Master, why don't you go down and rest? You've been just operated and little better than you participate. So he just smiled and he said, this body, yes, this body has been operated. And they told a story I want to share with you. You know, there was this, in the similar area, there was an old lady. She was alone, no children, no husband, and everybody had died or children had gone away. She was alone and she had a little garden in which she used to plant her vegetables and little flower and little tulsi. And she was very peaceful, happy running. And whenever the birds would come and eat away something, she had a big, a tin in which you will see in these areas, you have dalda tin, and she used to keep that outside and she would beat it with a stick and it would went dong, 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 and the birds will run away. It just so happened one day she was sitting there outside and doing a little knitting, and lazy hour, she had finished her breakfast and she found suddenly, to her alarm, a huge old camel came down and was looking around and saw, and with his neck from outside the fence, he bent forward and started eating. So as the story goes, this monk, old senior monk, self-realized master is giving the story. He said that naturally the old lady started doing dung, 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 dung and saying, hut, hut, go away, go away. And in this story, the camel could speak. The camel said, in English, he said, actually, the story was told in Hindi, but if I translated it in English, the camel said, Are Budiya, you old lady, you think that little tin ka thangaka is going to scare me away? He says, you don't know, I was a war camel and I used to go to the war where the cannon used to be fired. On top of me used to be a huge drum, which they used to beat it to people to go charging forward, inspire them. You think a little tin is going to make me get frightened? So the realized master was telling that, do you think that little pain in my body is going to take me away from such a beautiful Advaita session? A beautiful story, and very well he enacted. So understanding that in every cognition, when consciousness reveals itself, when you realize the presence of the consciousness in yourself, the real self, that is called immortality. You go beyond death. Body doesn't put you off anymore because body is not who you are. And we had gone along thinking this body is me. And this body is old, so I am old. This body is sick, so I am sick. And this body is healthy, and you say, I am very healthy, I have no problem. So we associate with the Nama Rupa Babhara, with our name, form, and action. Once you attain that immortality, and Ashtavakra is giving a beautiful sloka, and he's saying, Yatra tatra sarvatra yatha tatha. He's saying, anywhere, all the time, all through, you are peacefully existing and presence in the world. So you are that one ever free. You realize that you are that one ever free. You're realizing that consciousness, when your condition, you call yourself Jivan Mukta. There are many of you may have met, many of you have read about such Jivan Muktas. Another question came down to me recently is that how to develop detachment from material pursuits. You know, everybody is chasing towards matter, money, position, enjoyment, sensual pleasures, more and more, hoarding. I want to have more. How do you get away from them with the question? So the beautiful answer reminds me of Paramahansa Ramakrishna used to say that when you're traveling to the east, the west automatically falls behind. To seek higher goals in your life, you don't have to fight to give up the material world. Material world automatically will slip away, just like the water cannot wet the lotus stem, lotus flower, lotus leaves. It falls away. Just like that, it will fall away. In the spiritual life, God realization is the only goal of a human being, and other goals are just small. They're minor goals. Sure, you need to attain it in the material world to support your family, to support and to fulfill those journey conditions that you need. But positively, with rules and disciplines, when you travel, automatically you will find that the concerns of trying to give up is reduced, it minimized, and it goes away. In very simple, Paramahansa Ramakrishna again, he says in Bengali, Ishware Anurag, Bishaye Virag, meaning you develop a love for God, which is the principal journey for all of us. This Bishaya, this material object, you will find automatically you have Virag. It will fall away from your consciousness, right? Another question came, how do you define moksha in Vedanta? Freedom from sorrow or freedom from life and death, birth and death? Vedanta explains that moksha means both. The freedom from spiritual liberation is what we call mukti, apavarga, nirvana. It's called self-realization, bodhisattva, all of them. And classic Indian philosophical freedom of cycle and birth and death, it also means the freedom from sorrow. Why? Because they're equal and opposite of each, actually corollary to each other. Because once you are in the samsara and you have aligned yourself with name, form, and function, automatically you're a part of sorrow. The moment you go away from one or the other, you are away from the other two. Go away from the samsara, being the samsara, you're like the lotus. You're like the Paramahansa. You are in the wave and the ocean, but you realize you're water, and you don't look at the other waves as other waves. You look at those waves as they are also water. And those jivas, all the jiva put together become the ocean, but that is Ishvara now. Ocean is the Ishvara. Moment you realize that Jivan Mukta, I am water, then you look at water in the ocean, water in the waves, and realize we all are one, and it's called Brahman. You are in that Brahman, in a very simple language, if I may say so. So, in the Upanishad term, it goes on to say, knowing one goes beyond sorrow, goes beyond life and death. It is given in the Upanishad in these languages. Buddha talked about the Four Noble Truths, remember about, and the desire is the one which creates all this. And he went ahead and gave us the eightfold path of the desire, righteous actions, everything, 8 different forms of right action, right talk, right speech, right action. When you do this right, automatically you have the freedom and you attain, go beyond the suffering. Now, the next question was, what is Vedantic meditation? Now, as in Vedantin, as you and I are called Vedantin, which technique should we follow? There are a lot of meditation techniques, as you know. That basically, meditation is focusing. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, focusing is single-pointed focus. In the Vedantic meditation, it is given in, Drigdrishya Viveka. We have gone through this. Towards the end, 6 steps are given of this Vedantic. And this is Aparukshanubhuti. In the Aparukshanubhuti, verse 100 onwards, is given 15 steps given by Shankaracharya. And what he has done, we have gone through them also. Maybe we will go through them again. It's good to go through. Meditation is the ultimate goals. He's given 15 different types of meditation. And he's actually turned the Patanjali's 8-fold Ashtaling, that to 15, he's added some, and he's rephrased and renamed those ones which were given down by the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Now, ability to focus is taken as granted in Vedanta meditation. You cannot just say, ultimate is Nididhyasana, recollect, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasana. If ultimate is Nididhyasana, let's start straight away. There is a gentleman, Western gentleman, went down to Rishikesh and went and met a master. He said, teach me meditation. So as he was being taught about ayama, niyama, recollect ayama, truth, ahimsa, like that, and niyama, saucha, satya, like that, it goes on. This guy, this gentleman, he said, I don't want to hear all that. You just teach me breathing and meditation. So this master said, in the language which when I translated, he said, do you want to have Ashtanga meditation or Vikalanga meditation? Vikalanga is many limbs are missing. You cannot have it. Similarly, in Advaita Vedanta meditation, the moment you come to the meditation, it is presumed that you have already an ability to focusing. You already have. And you cannot do it until and unless you have those sadhana chatushta. And which means, first is Viveka, from who the Vivekananda's name came, is discerning what is real to us in life, what is not real. And the moment you discern what is not real, it is like the traffic light turning red. I cannot jump. Similarly, the moment you discern what is not real, so automatically you give away, you do away, called vairag. So viveka, vairag. You have detachment from it. You know it is not good. If somebody has got a tendency to eating and putting on weight, he knows that automatically I have to balance my diet, reduce eating, balance my sugar intake and things like that. Now, with this condition, the meditation focusing comes in with the third, Viveka, Vairagya, and Sadhana Chatushti. The third is, all of you are aware of it, are sixfold. Shama, Dama, Uparati, Titiksha, Samadhana, Shraddha, Mumukshattam, Mumukshattam, Mumukshattam. Samadhana is actually nothing else but that focusing and guiding. And you need to have all these 6 steps so that go on to 3rd. And the 4th is Mumukshattam, Mumukshattam, Mumukshattam. I shall not give it up till the time I attain my goal. So these, in the meditation part of the Vedantic, we shall go over it in detail progressively as we had promised you, in which we had talked about the discernment of unreal to real, dispassionate 6-fold disciplines. Now, the process of Vedantic meditation is basically the Shravanam, the first, understanding it with clarity, is to remove those systematically studying Vedanta, the doubts, understanding that I am not, that the first principle of Sankhya, which Kapila brought about, which Ramanujam talked about much later, is what? I'm not my body, I'm not my mind, I'm not my name and form and function. Now, in this Shravanam, when studying Vedantic scriptures and listening, discussing, collaborative, all put together, everybody talking together, you're removing, but your doubts have not gone away in Shravanam. You've got the basic knowledge. You know it now, that, okay, I am the Atman, but you say, how? Me, how can it be? That doubt is still there. In the Mananam, the power of the rationalization, reflecting, thinking, what you're doing of the teaching, you say, you start to realize, you start to believe, yes, it is real. You start to feel that it is a living reality with me now. From doubt in Shravanam, in Mananam, through reflection, studying more, asking questions, and your doubt goes away. I may not be realizing till now, but I know I will. I know it is true. I know if I follow this road, I will go to Mumbai. I'm in the super expressway. I will go to Mumbai. I may have a little stopover for coffee. I may have a little flat in my tire, but I know I'm going to do it and I'm going to go on this road and I will go to Mumbai. The Mananam takes you to that and takes you to Duksha Nivritti Ananda Prapti. That is what is the promise of the Vedantic meditation. Your suffering will go away, and which you will realize, yes, it is true. It's not just talk. It is actual realization. In Nitityasanam, is the collecting, collating all the data, assimilation, and making the knowledge into a living reality. Swami Vivekananda in 1895, he was living in an apartment, small room. People used to come to meet him, even at late at night. The timings for meditations are ideal. Just shifting away from Vivekananda for 1 minute, it is linked. Brahma Muhurata, 3:30, 4 o'clock onwards, till about 6:30 is an ideal time. Automatically mind becomes calm and mind focuses. This time, 12 o'clock is another time. You will find at this time in the nature, in the jungle, outside in our living, birds and all that are resting. They're not moving around. Mind tends to get automatically focused. In the evening, when Sandhya, you do Sandhya Arati, when the sun is setting, at that time again, tremendous energy is transmitting from sunrise to sunset and sunset to darkness. So these 3 Sandikshan, and the 4th one is at 12 o'clock at middle of the night. Vivekananda was found quite often when they would come 12 o'clock in Manhattan, New York. The whole, New York says that Manhattan never sleeps. New York never sleeps. So there is to be things, noise and all that, maybe a little less at 12 o'clock, but still. When they would go to see Vivekananda, they will see him deeply immersed in meditation. He's gone into samadhi state. And yet, he never ceased in writing. I was just reading Bapu Gandhi. Yesterday was his birthday, father of our nation. I was amazed to find out a couple of the truths about him, which is, did you know that he had written 100 volumes? And unbelievable, each one of them are that thick, that big, wide. He used to meditate deeply. He had gone to meet Vivekananda when Vivekananda was about 38 years of age, just before he was to leave his body. Bapu was then 20, and he had gone with Motilal Nehru and a couple of others. Unfortunately, he didn't meet Vivekananda. Vivekananda was not too well at that time, so he couldn't meet. And Bapu Gandhi went back again after about 30 years, when he was 50 years of age, to same Vellore Mutt. And he went around and he even gave a talk to the devotees and all. Bapu Gandhi, as you all know, he had taken an autobiography. If you see the picture, he took the initiation from Paramahansa Yogananda on Kriya Yoga. He showed great interest. And not only he took initiation, Paramahansa Yogananda says that I was amazed with his open-mindedness and his curiosity to know more on the Kriya Yoga and how he can utilize it. Bapu Gandhi, I'm just coming into it, this meditation, he used to be in deep meditation. He used to say, like Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King was a very Christian, staunch, spiritual person. Similarly, Bapu Gandhi, whenever there are big issues, big turmoils, he will go on to meditation. So this meditation, in which Swamiji is to do it in New York, I'm talking about the great masters, Martin Luther King, when he had big trouble, he used to say that I always prayed before I went and faced my conflicts. As you know, he brought about a great revolution. And Martin Luther King said, when the troubles were bigger, you and I would do what? We cut down the meditation. Not today, today I'm busy. He would say, I will spend double the time on that day on the meditation. I find today, whenever I have an issue, I have a question, I have the answer, but I am not very clear that what is Babaji's instruction, Divine Mother is telling me, or the Gurudeva's guidelines. I get a message. So I sit down and meditate. And soon enough, pretty good, with utter clarity, with beautiful new ideas which comes in. So stay linked. This is called Samadhana of that Sadhana Chatushta. So with this, Vivekananda is saying, tell yourself again and again, I am that, Tat Tvam Asi, I am that. Tell yourself again and again. He's saying that not only in the sense of just repetition like a mantra mechanically, but feel it. Feel it. Make it vibrating in every drop of your blood. Just feel it, that I am that. And which is what we talked about a little while, that is the step towards Jivan Mukta, where you feel God is everywhere. Water is in every wave. Water is in every ocean. Vivekananda is saying great emphasis on the self. Limited self, that is you and me, jivas, is nothing else than the supreme eternal self, only thing under delusion. We are ignorant. We have forgotten. These sessions are to take us across, make us courageous, open up our mind to look through and understand there is another beautiful world. So what is the famous statement? Whatever you witness, whatever you have witnessed in the past tense, before in your past, whatever you are going to witness in the future, is nothing compared to what you can witness within you. What is within us? What is within us is far, far bigger. We are generally happy, sad, depressed, angry about the past, and we worry about the future. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? But the beauty part is the moment you and I get connected to that giant within, fear goes away. And one of the basic things about the Vedanta, you become fearless. You know, I am in command, I am in control. So the knowledge enlightenment comes from Shravanam, hearing or studying the truth, in which also it takes away with the Shravanam, through the Mananam and the Nididhyasanam, takes away two basic blocks in the meditation. One is Asambhavana and second is Viparita Bhavana. So Asambhavana is the, how can it be? Asambhav, impossible, not possible. Is it really? Do you think it is possible? You try to ask people. That goes away with the Mananam and Nididhyasanam. It goes away. Here's me. So, impossibilities like what? You say, all right, I hear I am the Brahman, Aham Brahmasmi, Tattvamasi. In the Asambhavana, you have not realized Brahman, you have not become self-realized, but you start to realize it is a possibility. If I continue with this Vedantic meditation, I will reach. I will go to Mumbai if I follow this road. And this is what the Vedanta is all about. It talks about, removes which the objections, impossibilities, and becomes simple and possibility and makes you get excited, put in, remove all your sufferings and pain and shortage of relationship, money, job, conflicts, it all goes away. Somebody from the remote control, this huge consciousness, just think for a second. That huge consciousness, which is the creator of planets and the universe and the whole solar system and many other systems in the universe. In this earth itself is the creator of the huge rainforest, oceans, the mountains, the Himalayas, the deserts, huge. And that consciousness, you realize you. Whatever your things, without getting attached, if you have to get it, you will see it will happen. There's a story. I'll give you one or two very simple ones. Paramahansa Yogananda. I've been blessed to go there. Mount Washington. It was a powerfully, beautifully built, huge hotel. Very beautiful building. It's in Mount Washington. And very near Hollywood. All the Hollywood actors and actresses used to live there. And it was a very talked about. So Paramahansa Yogananda at that time, he was going round and round searching for a place which he's going to take on. And he had saved $30,000 those days. $30,000 is a lot. Right now, $1,000 is 78,000 rupees. Though those days it was just about 1 rupee to 3 rupees. I have seen, I'm talking about 1935 or so. I have seen in my life, $1 was 2 rupees to 3 rupees. And when 3 rupees went to 7 rupees and 7 went to 12, and I used to say, and we used to discuss amongst ourselves, that how are we going to manage? It's becoming so expensive. Dollar is rising. And just imagine, today is around 75, 74, 76 rupees. Paramahansa Yogananda had saved 30,000 rupees, $30,000. So he was going around, and his sister Pat, his secretary, was there with him in the car. And there was a German boy who used to type for him. He was also there. So as they went, and that being a Hollywood hotel, heavily security guarded. So Paramahansa Yogananda told them, stop. Let's go and check in this hotel. Now, Sister Pat said, Gurudev, you can't go in there. If you go in there, they're going to harass you. Security guard will throw us out. So he said, okay, I will not go. Why don't you go and check? So she went and checked, and she talked, and they said, no, it is not for sale. She came back. He again asked her, you go and ask again, can we talk to the owner? They got the details. Sister Pat got the details of the owner. And owner first said, of course, it is not for sale. And when Paramahansa Yogananda explained that, look, this is what is out, he said, okay, if you got money like $35,000 cash, 35. He had only 30,000. Okay, I may think about selling it to you. So he went back, and now Paramahansa Yogananda is telling in his own voice, I asked Divine Mother, when am I going to get $5,000 from now? I have to pay him $35,000. And Paramahansa Yogananda is saying, I just didn't feel like, again, asking the devotees, collect $5,000. She said, I asked Divine Mother, Mother, tell me, what do I do? And he said, I got in my meditation, ask Mrs. A. Mrs. A is a name. I'm giving you not the right name, because I don't know the right name. I would have shared with you. But Paramahansa Yogananda said that lady had just joined a few days before. And I got the message, ask her. She will give you that $5,000. But he said, I disobeyed my message which I got. I didn't feel like asking her. She just joined. She hardly knows me, hardly knows the organization. He didn't ask. 2 days went, 3 days went, 4 days. He again got the message, ask her. And he was continuously asking Divine Mother, when? Where will I get this money? And he got the message on his inquiry, ask so-and-so. He still didn't. And you know what? This is what it means if you get tapped into this consciousness, how powerfully you get what you need. Maybe it is not desire in a direct for a crude sense of self-pleasure or self, meeting with more food or more money or something. It is for a good cause, for whatever, like Paramahansa Yogananda's was cause. You know what? Paramahansa Yogananda is saying, that lady rings me up. It is available in audio cassette. And says, Gurudeva, I want to contribute some as I take up my journey. So Gurudeva says, all right, lady, what do you have in mind? How much do you wish to contribute? She said, will $5,000 do? Exact $5,000. Gurudeva said, please go ahead. And he got the Mount Washington. It's a beautiful place. Those of you can, when you go down to LA, it's beautiful, wonderful. As the moment I walked in there, I felt if there is a heaven, it is here. I got the same feeling in Gurudeva's another ashram is called Incinerator. It is near the Great Canyon. It's about 2.5 hours drive from Mount Washington, LA. And it's another beautiful place. So, talking about this tapping into the consciousness, I'll give you what I use, and I find I'm blessed. Whenever I think of it, I get messages, I get those things. I'll give you a little bite before we end today, a small practice which we do. Now, Paramahansa Ramakrishna, he used to do meditation in Panchavati. You've heard about it. And he was sitting and meditating, and there was a little droplets of rain. So he told Mother in the meditation, I want to make a little hut around so that when we come, that is he and the other devotees sit down here for meditation, rain and the wind and sun should not disturb them. Next morning, as he was walking toward that, he suddenly found in the river, as you have been there, those of you have been there, Panchapati is right in front of the river Ganges, meaning the Ganges bank is just there, maybe 50 feet, maybe 30 yards or so. He found there is something bobbing up and down, some kind of a bundle of things. So he goes with curiosity to see, and he says that I found huge bamboos with rope, including an axe to cut the bamboo, and they call it, I think they call it kathari, which is like, what you must have seen the coconut guys, they cut the coconut, that kaiti, like that. That is also tied up with that. Everything is packed. He made that hut. Those of you go down there, you will see it. So when you do this, you will find that you will get connected to this. Removes asambhavana, which appears to be not there. And then comes the knowledge becomes effortlessly available. And as you proceed with your sadhana yoga, you will reach that and you will cross it. Living reality, living light. And in the viparita bhavana is the contrary tendencies. Which is the contrary tendency? It's the tendency to think, I am this body, I am this mind, I am this Robin Ghosh. I am Robin Ghosh. Where is Robin Ghosh? Here. Now, this is you and I, we are that supreme consciousness, Chaitana. And this is why Paramahansa Ramakrishna, when on the 1st of January, on Kalpataru Day, when he suddenly got that feeling to go out, few days before he left his body, to bless the people. And he blessed masses and masses, and everybody had realization. Fantastic journey. And he would, when they would bless, he used to say, Tomar Chaitanya ho, meaning, may the consciousness dawn upon you. Tumara Chaitanya ho, Chaitana, this consciousness, knowingness. Yes, it is possible. Going into the techniques to Vedantic meditation, I already shared with you. These are the Shravanam Mananam, Drigdashya Viveka. This is Drigdashya Viveka, and this is Aparokshanubhuti. Aparokshanubhuti gives you 15 techniques given by Shankaracharya, Vedantic meditation, and Drigdashya Viveka, towards the end of the book, 6 techniques are given to us. We will go over them in detail. In the daily meditation, there is one more thing in the Vedantic is mentioned. It's called Upasana. Many of you must be doing it. And Upasana includes, like we are doing it in Kriya Yoga. I don't know if you realize it. When you're doing Omkar meditation, what are we doing? We are chanting silently, Omkar, silently, but we are listening, Shravanam, listening to Omkar, loudest noise. And as you listen to the loudest noise, you will find there are many Omkar Pranabadhvani happening, and you will hear some very powerful, beautiful, but faint, not loud one. They're also there. And you will know this is the true Omkar Dhvani of this universe. Others are also Omkar Dhvani. No sound can ever be utilized without the origination of the Omkar. You will come to know. And you will see, whether you take Babaji or Krishna or Divine Mother, Mother Kali or Shiva or Vishnu or our Gurudevas, you will have an Ishta Devata. And you proceed with that. The foundation is that you do daily. We do the practices twice, morning once, evening once. Continue to do that, and you will find things will go up. And this part of it, how do we know the Brahman is the ultimate reality? We have already done this. You have gone over it. Now, let me give you, we have about 6 minutes left. So, little bit of the very powerfully simple but very effective methodology to make things happen, to change those conditions of your life which you do not like. So you get into the meditative session. We will go down to each one of the steps in a little more detail in the subsequent sessions. But here, we have gone over this. Your posture is correct, your breathing technique, ancient Vedanta talked about, Patanjali talked about, that they realized that the most fluctuating mind is all mind, disturbed mind, etc., can be controlled by that one thing, which is called the breath. Breath, Sasi Hanuman hai, very powerful. And if you look carefully, when we are angry and anxious and anxiety, our breath changes. If you are angry, you will be breathing rapidly. When you're calm, peaceful, happy, holding a beautiful scenery in front of you, you're calm. A huge, massive glacier, waterfall, ocean, mountain ranges, sunrise, sunset, you'll find you're very peaceful and calm. Your pulse rate will go down. You can check it out. Or you're holding a baby in your hand, or you're holding your beloved person's hand and sitting just silently without talking. Now, with this breath, you control that mind, and from there, you get on to this state of the upasana in which you're breathing in, feeling the coolness, not following the breath. And when you're breathing out, this you do after Kriya. Those of you who are Kriyaban yogis, after the Kriya. And those of you who haven't, please give me a call. I'll tell you at what state and how to go about it. But I believe most of you are all Kriyaban yogis. As you breathe in, feel the coolness at the tip of the nose. You'll feel a cool feeling. Just be aware of the coolness. What are we practicing? Awareness, consciousness. And as you breathe out, feel the warmth part of the nose. Remember, very important, breathing is not you see in the television sometime. Ramdevji and many other yoga instructors show you deep alom, bilom, and etc. Or yoga breathing. Breathe in 4 counts, hold for 16 counts, breathe out for 8 counts. You know, these are various methods are there. Here it is not like that. In the Vedantic meditation, coupled with the mindfulness meditation, you just breathe in, feel the coolness, breathe out, feel the warmth part of it. Become aware of it. Now, for 15 counts, remember Dhyana Mudra, all of you are pretty here counting so that your mind is not going into the count, because in this meditation, if you forget the count, you have to count till 15. Minimum, more is welcome, but 15. So what do? Very simple method. This is pressing into this finger is 1. 1. That finger, index finger pressing into the thumb is 2. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 counts. After that, the next 15 counts, you become pretty calm and cool in 15 counts. So now you breathe in, and whatever thoughts are coming in, filter it by bringing in with voicing in your mind the good thoughts. Let's say I have a neighbor who is sick, suffering. Breathe in, healing for that neighbor. I have a condition which needs changing for the better, whatever. Quarreling, family member, some disturbed sense like I need that, I do not have it, whatever it is. Don't have to go into detail. Whatever you want, breathe in that. And whatever you do not want, like anger, jealousy, greed, small-mindedness, in yours and my case, first is lies. Second is alas. Alas says lethargy. Third is separation. Vedantic method, separated feeling. The moment I align myself with my name, form, and function, Robin Ghosh, I separate myself with you, with everybody else. But the moment I align myself from Jiva to Ishvara, to I say, I am the supreme consciousness, then I know everybody is consciousness. All the waves in the ocean are water. So I align myself to that. So now when I'm breathing out, I breathe out those things, separations, I'm breathing out lies, breathing out disturbance, breathing out deha both here, feeling of I am this body, breathing out finding faults with people. I must not find fault with anyone. I may find fault with myself. And that too would cease soon enough when you will know I cannot, because I am the Param Brahman. So the body may have the error, mind may have the error. And as you know, we have gone over this, as we die, the body dies, the Sukshma Sharira, Mano Buddhi Chitta Ahankar, goes like a bubble. And in the karmic cycle, not as per Islam, Christianity, or Judaism, but as per other religious practices, including Hinduism and Vedanta, we take birth again and again and again, in which that little bubble goes away and karmic cycle comes back. So here, what is it? You're purifying that status. And as you're breathing out, breathe away those things which will obstruct me from becoming consciousness. Breathing in, those things that you require. Breathing out also can be, I'm that angry type. I know I get very angry. Breathe out that anger, jealousy, greed, small-mindedness, pettiness, finding fault here and there. Breathe it out. You'll be surprised how effective this is. Now, when you do this for another 15 counts, sit still. So 15 counts, you have just taken breathe in, becoming aware of the coolness. 15 count, becoming aware of the warmth. Another 15 counts, breathing in with those thoughts which you like, which you want, which you desire, conditions which you want, changes for the better. Breathing out those things which you do not want, which you know is a hindrance for you attaining self-realization. And now, for 10 minutes at least, you sit still, in which, whenever thought comes in, say a thought comes in, I want to eat a sweet, or I want to have a cup of coffee, or my mind is troubling, my thoughts are troubling, a thought has come. Thought is called a vritti. It's like a bubble in the lake called the mind. The vritti bubble comes up. And that is a thought, comes out from past sanskaras, past tendencies of our this life, previous life, whichever, we do not know. But a vritti comes up. What do you do now? That consciousness light which is all around you, throw the light on that vritti. Don't pay attention to the coffee thought. Coffee thought has come. I want to have a cup of coffee. After the Vedanta session, I must have a coffee, or I must have my lunch. Throw the light onto that thought and concentrate on the light. You will soon find something which is very powerful. G, not only for God, not only for Gandhi of yesterday, G is also for gap. What you will find from one thought to another thought, there is a gap. You will find it at that time, a tiny gap. In that gap, you are with the consciousness. Plant the seed of what you want. In language of the Paramahamsa Yogananda, I want $5,000 to make it understand quickly. In Paramahamsa Ramakrishna, I want that bamboos and take to make a hut. And like this, to make you understand quickly, whatever it is, rationalize. G for gap. Second G is for goal. Have a goal. I have to go to Mumbai. This is my goal. I'm following this track. And that goal is that thought that you're putting in. And now, from gap and the goal, from there, just like when you plant a seed, let's say I plant some seeds for sunflower or some chili or coriander in my little garden or a pot. After I plant the seed, I don't go around digging it every day to see whether the seed is sprouting. And if I do, it will not sprout. So don't have doubts that the seed will sprout as long as I make my ambience is correct. Good soil, manure, sunlight, water. Not overwatering, not underwatering. Attention. You have to pay attention that it is going to come true. I know Divine Mother, God, Guru, saints of all religion will make it happen. I am that consciousness. I am that Sat, existence, Chit, consciousness, Ananda. How can it not come? I am one with the consciousness. At that gap, you are. Plant that seed. And now, if the rainforest can come, if the ocean can be there, my thoughts will come true too. Practice it. We will get on to more in the next. We are about 5 minutes past 12. Should you have any questions, you're welcome to go ahead and ask. Please. Any questions?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, my question is, we already know that we are a pure souls, but why we calls us as a name, body, and form?
You said that, let me understand, that you already know that you're a pure consciousness, and
Yes,
then?
sir. Then why we calls us a name, body, and form?
Then why do we
call ourselves?
Yeah.
Name, body, and form.
Okay. Very good question. In fact, this has been the trouble for us all throughout. You know, a little while ago, I covered about what Vivekananda said, that little self and the big self. Right? Now, your voice is not very clear. Could you speak a little slowly and tell me what is this thing?
And what's the plan for Buddha? Basically, I'll talk to her. Are you guys planning to go there?
Can you make out?
So what should I tell her? No, so जैसे अलका के साथ है अभी पे है anyway ठीक है, right?
Let me try and see if somebody can make out what is. Can you repeat? Please repeat.
Sir, actually someone's voice is being, it has to be muted.
Okay. So what is the question, Rajiv?
So the question is, if we know we are pure consciousness, if we know we have a soul, then why the name, body, form, right?
Then why we call ourselves as a name, body, and form? Right.
This was first question. That was
heard. Afterwards, there was someone's telephone was being heard.
Okay.
They not put it on the mute.
Okay. You asked them to put it onto mute. However, if somebody is close by, and those of you hearing, thank you for your question. I was going to answer that. See, what happens is, because of our past conditions of life, in the understanding of the Vedantic method of again and again birth, we come with those karmic cycles. In the Vedantic, Hinduism, and many other religions, except Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, where there is no repeat birth. Now, Even if there is in the looking at it with those three religious practices, in this life itself also, as we are born, we are told you are Vedant. And Vedant Kute, where is Vedant? And Vedant does this. So Vedant is growing up, Robin Bush is growing up, believing I'm this name, I'm this form and the function. Now, this is a crude understanding. But the main thing is that this small I and the big I, that small self, is nothing else. What we covered little while before, Vivekananda says, is under delusion, ignorance. We don't know who we are. And why do we know that we are body, form, and function? It's because we are being continuously bombarded by the surroundings. And this is what is our journey. And this is what Vedanta is saying. Just think that thousands of years, some have escaped. That famous story of Paramahansa Ramakrishna, fisherman is picking up the net for catching the fish, and most of the fish are caught. They want to run away. There is huge thrashing going around. They don't want to be caught by this ignorance, Maya. Some only big fish jump and get out of the net and fall back into the river. So this few escape with these practices. Why do we do it? Is because this is how we have been conditioned, number one. And those of us who have been through the karmic cycle, believing in that birth and rebirth, is that sanskar, is the vritti which has come with us. What are we doing? Going beyond that mind, going beyond that memory, going beyond that ego. And this is what Shankaracharya say, Mano Buddhi Chitta Ahankar Na Aham. He's telling it. Why? Because everybody thinks I am that. I'm a girl, I'm a man. We are not a body. We are a consciousness with this body. Yes, we have to take care of the body as the temple. The temple inside is the deity. We think I am the wave. We think I am a necklace, I am a bangle, I am a tiara, I am a chain. But we forget that the essential substance is the gold. If the gold is not there, none of the gold ornaments would be there. None of the waves, ocean, water, pool, river, waterfall, or water vapor will be there if the water is not there. So this is what is our journey of the Vedanta, is to go away from that ignorance and the illusion. And why does it happen? Primarily association with the worldly things around us. So in our last session, if you reorientated our discussions a little bit, sun's light is falling on the earth on the daytime, and we are getting that activity called Jagrat state. We are awakened. We know that consciousness is necessary for me to do anything, any learning, listening, doing, touching, teaching, eating, whatever we are doing. Consciousness is necessary. Daytime, Jagrat. What happens at night? Let's say it's a full moon light. Sun falls on the full moon. Full moon throws that light onto the earth. Full moon is simile of a mind. Sun is the consciousness. Consciousness throws its light in the moon, recollecting our previous discussion, called the reflective consciousness, throws onto the earth. What is earth? Earth is the Vavaharic, is the world, not the absolute world, but the transactional world, our day-to-day functions and actions. In this day-to-day functions action, if I am detached, knowing, though I have this name, body, and form, but I am not that, then what happens? I'm a better wife, better husband, better son, better daughter, better professional, because I'm detached. Like the lotus, I am in the samsara, in the water. I am in that mud, but I'm detached. I know I am not that. I'm using it. I am there. I have tasks to do that. Now, moonlight is falling on the earth, and earth says, beautiful moonlight. That is the mind falling into the earthly things. Vyavaharik world around us. Now, what happens during the eclipse? In the lunar eclipse, the lunar moon comes between the sun and the earth. And now the moon turns itself to the sun, symbolically speaking. So why is that? Because the sunlight no more comes into the earth. Earth is what? Transactional world, Vyavaharik world, day-to-day functions and chores, things to do, things to achieve, things to earn, things to buy. Those are the things, and our pleasures and things like that. Now what happened? The moon, the mind, moon is the mind, is turned itself towards the sun. Now the sun's light falls on the moon, that light goes back to sun. In the earlier understanding, I had described it slightly differently. Here, understand with this question, the moon, the mind has attained nirvana, self-realization, apavarga, mukti. So what happens now? It knows the sun, the consciousness, the light is the only thing which is real. This earth, it has turned it back to the earth, meaning this is called vairag. Detachment has come into the world. Earth is not vanished. Earth is there. This is understanding through the lunar eclipse. What happens when you attain apavarga or mukta or bodhisattva? So why do we do it? Understanding it very simple is a beautiful statement from our Taplial sir's country. And I think your country also. What does he say? The monks in the Himalayas, in their Uttarachand, they say, Beokufi matra hai. Why do we do that? Beokufi, our ignorance. I hope it answers your question. What do we have to do?
Yes.
Do the practices and remove that ignorance.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question? Let's finish with our salutations. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Akasha Shanti, Prithvi Shanti, Vayu Shanti, Agnyaya Shanti, Jalaspataya Shanti, Gaur Shanti, Om Uttaradisha Shanti, Dakshinaya Shanti, Paschimaya Shanti, Purvadisha Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May the Divine Mother, God, Gurus and Saints of all religion bless us, hold our hand with consciousness, with Chaitana, so that we understand our ignorance and we take ourselves away to the path for which we are born, to realize who we truly are, get ourselves connected with the supreme consciousness, in the theistic language with God, in the Advaitic language with Brahman, with consciousness. Both mean the same. Jai Guru.